Hello everybody. When it comes to video games, there are a lot of subjects to talk about. You got prominent ones like graphics, gameplay and story. You got underrated ones like audio design, art design and title screens, which may or may not have a video dedicated to it down the line, wink wink. But one that I think is incredibly underrated that every game comes physically attached with, well, apart from digital ones, but shut up, is cover art. Cover art is pretty neat. It communicates to the player what they're getting themselves into before playing the game. It also just completes the whole video game package in the same way that a book cover completes a book and a film poster completes a movie. A game wouldn't feel right without a cover art. So I thought it would be a bright idea to take one of my favorite video game series and mash it up with this concept and make a video out of it. And if you don't know what game series I'm referring to, despite the title of the video giving it away, I'm sorry. Far Cry. I love this series so much. It means so much to me. It has produced some of my favorite games ever. So I thought it would be fun to go through every Far Cry game's cover art and decide who does it the best, who does it the worst, and who does it just okay. Without any further ado, let's begin. Oh, wait, sorry, I just remembered. I gotta quickly do something. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry that took so long. I was just booking a reservation for tonight. With your mom! Kicking things off, we have the game that started it all, Far Cry 1. And it looks like we are starting things off with the definition of pretty okay. What can I say? There's nothing special about it, but at the same time, there's nothing horrible about it. It's the definition of generic. You got the giant Far Cry logo, which I have to say is just so iconic and cool. The hole in the A looks like an elephant. I wonder if elephants will end up being a significant animal in a future Far Cry game. The background highlights the setting of the game with a tropical jungle-like environment being present. There's also a random-ass helicopter and a gosh dang explosion. All of this happening behind one Hawaii shirt-wearing man, Jack Carver, the game's protagonist. My man Jack here looks like he's got some malicious intentions, crouching in the water like that with an SMG. Anyways, like I said before, Far Cry 1 cover art, it's okay. Next up, Far Cry Instincts, and what we got here honestly just looks cheap. It's incredibly similar to Far Cry 1's cover art. The helicopter is back, the explosion is back, Jack is back and looks, I don't want to say high, but more like, okay, no, that's exactly what it is. Honestly, the only thing that's changed here when comparing it with Far Cry 1 is that we're on a different part of the island and Jack is climbing up the terrain rather than sneaking through water. Also, his guns are different. Do what you want with that information. Or don't, I mean, I'm not your dad. Well, not yet anyways. Yeah, this isn't that good. It's pretty boring. Next up is an eye. No, seriously, this is it. It's just an eye with the eyeball reflecting the image of a bunch of palm trees. That said, I actually like this cover art. Sometimes less is more. Some of my favorite cover arts ever are minimalist like this. Sometimes that minimalism speaks more, leaves a bigger impact than anything else ever could. So hot take, but this is my favorite cover art in this video so far. Also, the evolution text looks clean. Next up, we take a trip back to mediocrity. What is this? The Predator text looks cool, but that's pretty much where the positives end. This is just so boring. The helicopter and explosion are once again back, along with the tropical island. We have the introduction of these, I think, aliens. And finally, to round it all off, we got our main man looking menacingly to the front. Also, in every single one of these cover arts that have featured Jack, his face has just been a mess, just claw marks and bruises all around. At least the art designers had the time to draw the little specks of hair on his face. Not a good cover art at all. Moving on. Oh my gosh, what the hell is that? Spoiler, this is without a doubt the worst cover art in this entire video. Where do I start? The incredibly cheap look, how unappealing and ugly it is, or the fact that they were like, hey, we can't think of anything else, let's just bring back the helicopter explosions that we have already used 10 pissing times. This is honestly so ugly. I cannot find a single positive. How fitting that the worst cover art in the series belongs to the worst game in the series. Let's not waste any more time with this. Next, we have Far Cry 2, and that is quite a pretty sunset, or I guess it could also be a sunrise, but that's besides the point. This cover art tells you so much about the game. You got the setting, you got the machete, you got fire, and you got the vehicle. It's really appealing. The sun makes the cover art feel dreamlike to me, like you're entering a different world where the rules are not what you are used to. Also, the spent bullets along with the smoke coming out of one of them looks pretty cool. So overall, this is a really good cover art. What can I say? It's just nice to look at the end of the day. Next is the Far Cry cover art. Far Cry 3. I mean, what is there to say? It's the definition of iconic. You got the setting of the game, the Rook Islands in the background, you got the awesome Far Cry logo in front, albeit with a few bruises in it, and then there he is, sitting crisscross applesauce in the middle. Voss Montenegro. Without a doubt, the series' most iconic villain, the beating heart of not only this game, but of the Far Cry series. Voss is Far Cry, and you can tell exactly what type of character Voss is by looking at his friend Chris, almost buried alive next to him. And yes, his name is Chris. Go watch the Far Cry experience, it's the best thing ever made. Small detail in the back that's pretty cool is the smoke going up, which is the same smoke that can be seen on top of outposts in the actual game. I also really like the colors used here. The blue, green, and turquoise makes everything look so beautiful. This cover art really is amazing and a very strong contender for best in the entire series. Now, normally I wouldn't really be a fan of cover arts like this because they usually lack substance. I mean, if the first few cover arts of that video don't tell you that, then I'm sorry. But this one actually fits the game pretty well. Also, it being polished helps. Just that combination alone, it being made in a way that suits the game and it being polished, shows that the cover art was designed by people who cared, and that automatically gives a charm, substance, and soul. It really is that simple. Moving on to the components of the cover art, this just screams 1980s. The fonts, the 80s synthwave background, the sunset in the background, along with the palm tree. You got Rex, the protagonist, with his trusty pistol and awesome robotic arm, along with a bunch of other notable characters. It all works out pretty well despite how it may appear when described on paper. Oh hell yeah, here we are, my beloved Far Cry 4, my personal favorite Far Cry game, and also one of my favorite games of all time. I love this game so much, it means so much to me. The cover art, on the other hand, is also fantastic. It's so nice. You got my boy Pagan in the middle with his hand resting on a Golden Path soldier who is kneeling with a grenade in their hands, which I gotta say just looks pretty cool. You got all these guns and ammo lying around, and in the background, with all its beauty, Kyrat, the setting of Far Cry 4, which is without a doubt not only the best setting in the entire series, but one of the best settings in gaming history. Cool detail is that the stone that Pagan has his left foot on is the head of the statue he's sitting on, which is a pretty subtle way of displaying how he's affecting the country of Kyrat. He's removing Kyrat as we know it and replacing it with himself. Another cool detail is the state of the Golden Path soldier. It symbolizes the situation the Golden Path find themselves in at the start of the game. This is further exacerbated by Pagan placing his hand on top of the Golden Path soldier's head, which perfectly shows the power dynamics in place. Also, I don't know if this is just me, but I've always thought that the hole in the A in the Far Cry 4 title looked like an elephant, which is pretty fitting. Finally, Pagan my man, the drip is immaculate. This, along with Far Cry 3, is top 2 cover art so far. We'll decide which one is better later. Far Cry Primal is next, and it's the definition of not bad. It's good, like, don't get me wrong, it's not bad by any means, but it's also not spectacular. It's just plain old good. You got the setting, the protagonist, and the primary enemy. Surprisingly, this is the only cover art, starting from 2012, to not have the main villains on the cover. It's also one of only 2 cover arts, starting from 2012, to have the protagonist on it, with the other one being Blood Dragon. Other than that, there isn't much to say. It's a pretty standard cover art. Now it's Far Cry 5's turn to get in on the action, and I think it's pretty good. Love the blue sky with the giant clouds and the landscape in the background, incredibly pretty. Like the little stars below the Far Cry logo signifying that this game is taking place in the good old US of A's. Cool detail in the background with the cult flag being placed higher than the American flag. Also, similar to this example, the stars on the big American flag here in the middle on the table are also not very conventional looking. Along with the main villains, we have a book on top of the flag. I wonder what book that could be. This cover art tells so much about the game. It shows the villains and the setting, but it also hints at other things through the book, which if you played the game, you know what book that is. The flag placement in the background, which again, if you played the game, you know why that is. There's also a man down here with the word Sinner written on his back, which once again reveals information about the game if you dig deep into it and piece it together with the other things. There are so many things in this cover art that reveal so much about the game. Some obvious and some that require a bit more digging. Bottom line, really good cover art. And here we are at the dawn of a new era. Look, I got to do at least one per video, you know me. New Dawn's cover art is pretty similar to Far Cry 5's cover art, just with a few tweaks. You got the main villains in the forefront, along with a few guns and the American flag, which this time looks like an actual American flag rather than one with sketchy looking stars on it. You got a church off to the left and hills at the back. The structures present have moss on them, which communicates that a long time has passed between games. There's also pink flowers everywhere to signify the fact that in-game pink flowers are everywhere. You also got my man Joseph in quite a predicament by the looks of things. Just like with the Far Cry 5 cover art, this one foreshadows a lot about the game. Some obvious and some that require a bit more digging. Again, another decent cover art. Nothing incredible, nothing horrible. And finally, we have arrived at the most recent Far Cry game, Far Cry 6. And it is, once again, another example of decent. Nothing spectacular, nothing horrendous. You got the main villain in the front of the setting of the game. There are these buildings and everything below them are shrouded in red and fire to signify the state of the setting, that being a civil war. The sky is green for some reason. Looks like they decided to push the drug sequence to before the game even starts. And yeah, there isn't much else to say. This is one of the most minimalist cover arts in the entire series. Still, not bad. Now that we've come to the end, I think it's time to pick the best and worst. Well, I think everybody already knows the worst, considering I literally said that it was when I was talking about it. The worst cover art in Far Cry history is without a doubt Far Cry Vengeances. And for the best, I'm torn between 3 and 4. They both look incredible in different ways. Far Cry 4 has a lot more going on, while Far Cry 3 is more minimalistic. But at the end of the day, you can't deny how iconic Far Cry 3 and its cover art is. I love how there's so much to Far Cry 4's cover art, and the fact that it doesn't feel like there's too much going on. Like, they didn't add pointless, soulless additions to the cover art just for the sake of it. But when a minimalistic cover art is done right, nothing can beat it. Sometimes less is more. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. I would love it if you liked, commented your thoughts, and subscribed to the channel, as they help me out a ton. Have an amazing rest of your day, wherever you are, and farewell.